Good morning, everyone. We would kindly request all of the audience to put their mobile phones in silence. I'm Prama.
And I am Anish, and it is a pleasure to welcome all members of IIT Kanpur community for the third and last session in the series of talks on Be the Change. On this occasion, I would like to welcome our guest of honor, Srimati Sudha Murthy, chairperson of the Infosys Foundation, and Sri N.R. Narayan Murthy, co-founder of Infosys, on stage. I would also welcome Professor Abhay Karandikar, director of IIT Kanpur, on stage. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome, sirs.
I now request Manish, acting president of the Students' Gymkhana, to present ma'am with a small sapling on behalf of IITK. Thank you, Manish.
May I now request Neil, Secretary, Science and Technology Council, IIT Kanpur, to present this sampling to Sri Narayan Murthy. Thank you, Neil. I now request Vineet Vijayan, PhD student representative of Academic Senate, to present this sampling to our director, Professor Abhay Karandikar. Thank you, Vineet. May I now request Professor Karandikar to give the welcome speech.
First of all, it is good morning, all of you, and it is indeed a great honor and privilege to have with us Shri Narayan Murthy and Dr. Sudha Murthy here. Both of them need no introduction. So without much ado, I think we should start the program. We are sort of lacking time as well. And I think I would just request that we will have a question.
Yeah, I think Q&A would be a better idea.
Yeah.
Because students will have a lot of questions. And anyway, they are used to sermons. I don't want to add additional. Let them ask questions. I will try to answer as much as I can.
So I request that you be brief, introduce yourself, and so that, so don't ask a long questions. Ask a short questions and expect a long answer then.
Thank you, sir.
The world is a testimony to their success, both as individuals and as a great team that puts the needs of humankind before their own selves. We take inspiration from their philanthropy and their simplicity, their integrity and humility. Today we are humbled by the gracious presence of the legendary couple, Srimati Sudha Murthy and Sri Narayana Murthy amongst us. An alumnus of IISc, a computer scientist by training, Srimati Murthy challenged the status quo since the beginning of her career at Telco by being their first ever female engineer. A teacher, an author, a philanthropist, she is the chairperson of the Infosys Foundation and a member of public healthcare initiatives of the Gates Foundation, and has handled 13 national disasters in the last 23 years and has established more than 60,000 libraries in Karnataka. She is a prolific fiction author in Kannada and English and has published several books that espouse her life views on charity, hospitality, and self-realization. Amongst various awards received for her literary achievements, she is also the recipient of Padma Shri for her social work. IIT Kanpur feels privileged to have the opportunity to award ma'am the Honorary Doctorate of Science in the 52nd convocation held yesterday.
An IT industrialist and co-founder of Infosys, Sri N.R. Narayana Murthy is our own alumnus. He is considered the father of Indian IT sector and has been listed amongst the 12 greatest entrepreneurs of our time by Fortune magazine in 2012. He serves as a member of advisory boards and councils of several global educational and philanthropic institutions. He is the recipient of 2 Civilian Awards of India, Padma Shri in 2000 and Padma Vibhushan in 2008. Sri Murthy has also authored the book A Better India, A Better World, published in 2009. Now, I would turn the podium to Srimati Sudha Murthy herself if she would like to commence, and after that we can have a Q&A session, or we can just move forward with
No,
the
I think we can go ahead straight with question and answers. Well, I have only one request, and I'm sure Sudha would agree with me too. Alternately, it has to be from a girl and a boy. First a girl and then a boy.
Because girls are smart, they ask more, that's the reason.
No, not just that. We in India, we men have the habit of hogging the whole time. Therefore, if we force it to be a girl first and then a boy, girl, a boy, etc., it's better.
Thank you very much for giving me this session. I always enjoy talking to students. Once Mr. Murthy asked me, he meets, all great leaders in the world. I don't meet. Most of the time I'm in villages. Sometimes I meet along with him, but so he was telling me that what makes you always happy? I told him because I used to teach computer science in Bangalore University. So I said, I'm in the company of students, and though I'm old, my frequency with their heart will be the same, it will resonate. So I always remain young. Whereas you are in business, so your frequencies are different. So that's the reason I love to come to any session with the students. It makes me young. For my own sake, I would love to interact with students. So thank you very much for IIT students giving me this opportunity for both of us. And I don't believe in talking too much. I believe our work should talk about what I want to talk. So please ask questions, because many people have many misconceptions about success, or many people think, okay, you are always successful, that means you are always lucky. Actually, the most successful person is the one who has seen many failures and convert every failure to a step. And how we did in our life, depending on your questions, we'll answer. So please be brief, direct, and ask questions without any fear or any exaggeration, or without even telling too much about ourselves, Don't do that. We'll answer. And we have to catch a flight from Lucknow. So that's the reason we cannot extend time. Let us start.
To leave at 10:30 sharp.
We'll
So
take
let's
questions.
start with the girl and then.
Whatever may be. Yes. No? No girl? Yes, beta. Please, let's start.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir. I have a question to you. Ma'am, has your literary journey began?
Which journey?
Literary journey.
Okay, my literary journey. As a student, I used to write. My mother was a school teacher, so she would make it compulsory that I should write an essay, and I would say, no, I will not write. Whenever you go and visit anything, then she would say, if you don't write, then no dinner. So that made me a habit of writing 25 lines a day. Okay. And it became a habit to me. So I started writing about rain, I started writing about blooming flowers, etc. And then I used to write fairly good essays in school. But I stopped writing when, in teenage, I'm sure like any other teenager, you will write something, great, something happens in life or that kind, which doesn't have much meaning now. But I started writing again after my engineering, because engineering, in that period I did not get much time. My first book came when I was 29. It's in Kannada. Kannada is my mother tongue. I wrote because I backpacked to America all alone, thanks to Murthy's funding. So I realized that I can write and that can be a book. So I started writing at the age of 29 seriously, but I started writing in English at the age of 50.
Until that, I never wrote in English. I always wrote in Kannada, all my novels. At the age of 50, George, who was the senior editor with Indian Express, he told me, Sudha, why can't you write a column for Indian Express? I said, no, my mother tongue is Kannada. I am a Kannada medium student. That means up to 10th standard, I learned physics, chemistry, mathematics, everything in Kannada. So I told, I'm not very confident, how will I write? He said, you are a storyteller and it is nothing but it's a vehicle. Language is a vehicle, but the story is more important. I said, okay, I will write one and let me see. And I wrote. I gave it to Indian Express. They published immediately. That gave me a lot of confidence. And then I went on writing columns for all the papers. And my first book came in 2002, Wise and Otherwise in English. And now I have 21 books in English. Altogether, I have 32 books. And I have about 220 titles. That means my book has been translated, each book has been translated to 12 to 13 languages, most books. So it is, what I feel is, it's an art which I developed over a period of time, and it requires tremendous reading, because when you read, then you understand different styles of writing. Most importantly, you should be sensitive. If you are sensitive and you observe, then you can write better. People who are not sensitive cannot write, because for them, something happens, it happens, what's there? But for a writer, it happens, what it will be consequence, what it will be the past, what is the flashback, what is the extrapolation, all these things will be there. So if you are sensitive, if you read well, if you practice writing, and you are not in a hurry to publish within within 20, I will publish a book, don't do that. And when somebody suffers, you can understand, and you should feel that, and then only you will be able to write. It is not always you have to write a romantic, happy ending story. That's only in Bollywood. In real life, that is not true. So this is the way I started writing. But the advantage of writing in English, it can reach many people. It can be translated in many languages. My books are in, what is this, Kashmiri, Dogri, Urdu, many languages it's there. So the advantage of writing in English is that. And, when I write in Kannada, I write in a shorthand, on a paper. When I write in English, I write on a computer. And I think in English that time. When I write in Kannada, I think in Kannada. This is my way of writing. Over a period of time, you get this idea how to write. Then you see the pictures. In my case, every author has different. I see the, like a film frame I can see, and I only go on describing. At the end, it becomes a story. Thank you very much.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, madam. I'm Aditya from the chemistry department. My question is, after your graduation, sir, did the need to achieve financial stability ever inhibit you from taking a risk and establishing Softronics and Infosys?
Yeah, he had a working wife, so that was not a problem.
Oh, no.
No, while I do agree what Sudha said, actually, my ability to be moderate about the financial requirements started much before. We were just 12 students in our graduate studies in electrical engineering with specialization in computer science. At that point of time, there was no computer science degree at IIT Kanpur. And out of the 12, all of us, all the 12 had received 3 jobs paying about 1,600 rupees per month. Telco, Tisco, HMT, Air India, etc., etc. And I was the one who had not yet accepted any of those jobs. All my other 11 colleagues had accepted. Then I got interviewed for a job at IIM Ahmedabad as a chief systems programmer. And IIM was installing India's first time-sharing computer system based on what called HP 2000A system. And that was the third business school in the world after Stanford and Harvard, which was installing a time-sharing system. I was also told that I would have the opportunity to write a simulator for TDC 312 and 316, which was the Electronics Corporation of India limited computer. And I would also have an opportunity to write a basic interpreter. And finally, I would also have an opportunity to produce an operating system to handle time sharing on TDC 312 and 316. But there was only one catch, and that was the salary was exactly half of the other jobs, 800 rupees per month. So then I sent a telegram to my father, short telegram, and he just wrote back saying, talk to your teacher and do whatever he says. And I went to Professor Rajaraman and I asked him, look, I have these stock choices. One gives me double the salary, but it is in the industry, whereas the other one gives me opportunity to learn a lot, to write an interpreter, to write a simulator, to write an operating system, etc., etc. But Professor Rajaraman said, if I were you, at your age, I was 22, he said, if I were you, I would then take up a job where there is much opportunity for learning. At this age, put learning on the front burner and money on the back burner. Therefore, even at that point of time, I took a job at half the salary, unlike all other 11 colleagues of mine. And I can assure you that I have not regretted that.
I just want to add to that, ever since I know Murthy for the last 45 years, he has never made money as the main criteria at all in life. Whenever we did not have money, even at that time, he had an excellent job, I had a very good job, and we had a daughter who settled in Bombay. And one evening he comes and tells me, I'm quitting my job, I'm starting Infosys. Which normally most people don't like to do because you have, everything is settled for you. When you are settled, he made it unsettled. Or when he was when he founded Infosys, actually, he's the founder of Infosys. When he started that, he gave his, his share of Infosys share to his colleagues who were 10, 12 years younger than him, much more, more in a democratic way, which normally a founder will not do because people would like to hold it, whereas he wants to give it. When we went to public, that time he said, okay, let our employees, he may be a driver, he may be a cook, he may be a sweeper or a janitor in our company, but they should also share the wealth, which very few people will think. Money has never played an important role in our life. Probably we have understood together, if you run after money, money runs away from you. You run after a particular cause, which is much more larger than money and much more generous about it, money probably follows you. And you crave for it, Lakshmi runs away. You do not worry about her and do your job with passion and thinking at large for Bahujana Hitaya, Bahujana Sukhaya, probably money follows. And you should use that for that purpose. That's the way we look at it life. In a way.
Now it is the job of a girl because we are alternating.
Okay,
No, these rules are
chalo.
rules. Respected.
All are kids after all. Okay.
No, they're all kids, I agree.
Chalo beta. Last.
Morning, I'm Anubha from the Department of Civil Engineering, and I have a
I
question.
met you yesterday, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
yes.
Yeah.
I have a slightly more social question this time. And I would like to get your views on the fact that in this changing times in our country, where the country is shifting from being a traditional social society per se as part of our culture, more towards the westernized side, and the lifestyle and people's ideas are changing. What would you suggest would be a good way for a woman who's in a career and trying to balance both ways, which is the right way to go?
It depends on individual. I'm not a dharma guru or social pandit.
In general, I would like to get your views on
Ma'am,
that.
please sit down. Please sit down. In my class, when I used to tell students stand up, I said, please sit down. That means I will punish you afterwards. Kind of. When a madam tells me to sit down, it's more dangerous. Okay. We do not know. What is correct, what is wrong is individual, and you can't make a general rule. When you have wealth, people stay together many times not because of love, because of economic conditions, which works out cheaper, which somebody will look after. That is the most of the time. But some people stay together because of affection for each other. So it depends on the families. There are many advantages and disadvantages if you stay in a joint family, and there are many advantages and disadvantages when you have your own unit. What is good for a career woman is left to the woman who wants to pursue her career. In my case, I can tell. In my case, my parents stayed downstairs. I stayed upstairs. So it was a great advantage to me in many ways emotionally. And Mr. Murthy used to travel 230 days, 200 days, 250 days at times in a year. So I wanted a real support, and my support came from my parents and my doctor sister, who looked after my children, and also they looked after me so that I can work. So it depends on individual. But I feel nowadays, this is my personal opinion, highly biased, boys should know better household work, actually much more cooking than girls, I feel. The reason, you want a wife who will work with you, who will bring this almost same salary, then don't tell my mother used to cook fantastic things. Your mother was a housewife, she could do all those things. When you expect your wife as your colleague and who works hard with you, how do you expect the moment she comes home, she should be like your mother who will make achar, pickle? There's nothing wrong in that. But being a housewife is a full-time and overtime unpaid job. Okay? And such job you want your wife after she comes back at 8 o'clock in the night. You know, in Bangalore, 6 o'clock is the office hours, 2 hours is traffic jam. So when you reach 8 o'clock, you want suddenly she should become like, or she should go to the kitchen, work, and give you hot roti. How it is possible? Unless you cooperate, you take 50% responsibility. It is not possible for a woman to pursue her career. I always say, behind every successful woman, there is an understanding man. Please understand.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. My question is that how anyone can handle ego?
Well, this is a highly philosophical question. And ego is aham, right? This is not a question that is limited to one culture, even though by all reckoning, we Indians have the highest ego per unit of achievement. That's a reality. That's a reality. We always, in everything, we say, Mera Bharat Mahan, this is the greatest cricketer in the world, this is the finest scholar. We tend to use too many superlatives. I think the best way to overcome ego is to start giving the credit to the team and try and make the younger members of the team feel an inch taller in your presence. Make them feel that they are the owners of what has been achieved. This requires a lot of effort, lot of proactive efforts. And once you start doing it, then that becomes the norm. Everybody will, it's the leader's responsibility to do it. And once the leader starts doing it, everybody else will start doing it. So these are all things that have to be learned hard, practiced hard. And they are not easy to give up, but once you put in a lot of effort, I think it should be possible.
I will handle in a different way. What is to think great about us actually? We are like anyone. I have a brother who is a professor at Caltech and an astrophysicist. So I asked him once, he did 50 papers on nature or something. So I was very proud. I asked him, is it not great? He said, look at this. Look at the universe. There are many Milky Ways. There are many suns. And one of the sun, there are many planets. In one of the planets, there is Earth. In this Earth, there are many countries. In that country, there is a country known as India. In that country, there are many states. In that, Karnataka is one state. In Karnataka, there are many places. And Hubli, I belong to a place known as Hubli. Hubli is one town. In Hubli, there are many houses. We are one of them. What's great about us? You tell me. What is great about you? If you think we have done something fantastic and great, then unnecessarily you feel you get ego. If I'm very beautiful, please remember there's Aishwarya Rai. If I'm very rich, please remember there's the Bill Gates. There are always people above you and below you. You are normal. And given set of circumstances, you have done something nice, it's fine. Much more than that, you should not take credit, because really life is not worthy of fighting for ego. It's not worth it. Your lifespan is small, and do something good, have fun, do legally, ethically right things, and enjoy life. That's enough. Why think I'm the Superman? There is nobody Superman. There is not a superwoman. There is nobody. If I'm writing well, there is always people who are better than me. So you should never think that way. You are ultimate in life. There is nobody is ultimate in life. Life itself is ultimate. Okay? Thank you.
You know, the other day I was coming from London, day before yesterday, and next to me was Kareena Kapoor, who was sitting in her seat. So many people came to her and they said hello. She didn't even bother to react. I was a little bit surprised. Whoever came to me, I stood up. We discussed for a minute or half a minute. That's all what they were expecting.
But she must be a million admirers. She must have been tired.
That is not the issue. That is not the issue. The issue is...
Murthy, a founder and a software person will have maybe 10,000. But film actress will get 1 million. Okay?
No. That is not the issue. The issue is when somebody shows affection, I think you can also show it back in however cryptic manner you can. I think that is very important. Anyway,
It depends.
These are all the ways to reduce your ego, that's all. Anyway.
I will tell a very funny incident. About 20 years back, maybe 20 I suppose, I was traveling in one of the airlines, and my students, one of them has become an air hostess. She's the chief of that, okay. She said, ma'am, how come you're in economy? I said, I paid for it, okay. She said, she told me, oh, I will upgrade you to business class. I said, without money, I am always happy. So she upgraded, and there was a lady sitting next to me. I saw her, and being mothers talk more, women talk more, system analysts talk more, and I'm all three in one, okay? So I said, I saw her, and I said, she was reading a book or something. I looked at her and said, I've seen you somewhere. She looked at me and said, no. I said, my memory is fairly good. Are you an employee of Infosys? She said, no. Did we share the same dais? She said, I don't think so. Were you my student 10 years back or something? There's an end to the shamelessness, you know. Because sometimes there's a batch of 160 and all, you won't remember. She said, no, ma'am, I've never met you before. I said, fine, now that means almost don't talk more, okay? So I said, okay, I will. In business class, you get a film magazine, I was going through that. I realized who she was. Then I came to know that she was expecting I would sit next to her and say, oh, you are fantastic, I met you. Ma'am, oh, young lady, it was such an honor to meet you, you're so beautiful, or whatever she was expecting. Whereas I was talking to her, were you my student, are you an employee of Infosys? So I was, no, not that way. Because I saw her picture, then I realized she was a film actress. So until that I said, no, I've seen her somewhere because I've seen her poster. That's the reason. It is not that, I know, she has to acknowledge me. Seeing her picture in the film magazine, I realized she was a film actress. But she felt very offended, you know, I'm asking her all these silly questions. So it depends on what you think about yourself. You think you're normal, then you don't bother. You think you're something special, then it hurts you a lot more when people don't talk, you know, don't acknowledge you that way.
Now let's go to a girl.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir. My question is to you, ma'am. You have been an awardee both as a student and as a teacher. So, out of the two, what is your passion and what is your hobby? What do you enjoy doing most, studying or teaching?
Both, I suppose, because you know I have a teacher. I did Indology diploma when I was 60. Then I have a teacher who, whenever I'm in town, I'm one of those most irregular student. He comes and teaches me. Kannada script, 8th century Kannada script, you know. So I do my homework properly, I enjoy it. The day you stop learning, I think you will become old. Then you talk like old people, you know. In my time, it was so good. The moment you say, in my time, I get worried, oh, I'm getting old. Okay? I was in Egypt, I went to the oldest pyramid in Egypt, Memphis there. I took a translator and then I told him, what is written in hieroglyphy, please read and let me know. He told me, it is written that next generation is careless, they spend so much time, they are spendthrift, and we do not know how they will survive, they have less knowledge. I said, it sounds like my father used to talk to me like that and I talk to my So the moment you don't learn, you stop learning, then you talk, mere zamane mein and all those things. So learning makes me young. Teaching makes me vibrant. So I like both.
Ma'am? Ma'am, ma'am here, on the podium. Just to expand on her question, you are also you are a philanthropist, an author, a teacher. How do you manage so many work choices?
All the work.
All the work with such rigor.
I have a very good team to help me. I have a very understanding husband, you know, the first one. There is so much support at home. Nobody will question me where you will be there 10 days. Like, you know, if there is a like tsunami, 2-3 months I was not there. Then Kerala floods or Orissa funny. So I go at a stretch 10 days, 12 days, I'm not at home. If there's a wedding at home or not at home, you know, I'm really not worried about that. There's a very understanding family, otherwise it's not possible at all. For a woman to make very successful career, it's very important, a very understanding family. For man also it is important, but women require more in our society. Second thing, I have very good staff in the office. I have 8 people, and we manage 400 crore projects. I have only 8 people. Then I have an excellent, 2 secretaries, you know, who look after all my personal things, which I really don't bother. What sari I should wear also, I don't spend time on that. That will be decided by someone else, and they put the sari and I'm supposed to wear it. I don't go to, normally I don't attend any weddings. Not that I'm against weddings, I don't get time. Even my students' weddings, I say how far it is, it's in other part of Bangalore city, I said, best wishes. If it is in Jayanagar, then I go, but I don't spend time in having dinner there, it takes so much time. I calculate everything in terms of time. Time is very precious because God is very intelligent. Whether rich or poor, beautiful or not, whether you are successful or not, everybody gets 24 hours. And you can't while the time, you know. It's very important. So every unit of my measurement is always time. So I manage time in such a way that I will save it. Just like I save probably a Kohinoor diamond that way. I don't waste. I don't attend any parties and I'm a bad hostess. Murthy will take care because somebody comes after some time. I will have my calls, I will have my work. So normally, other than my work and writing, I don't do much social activity. Social get-togethers are very rare for me. I save time as much as possible. And I write early in the morning because that's a time where I don't get calls. And even when I write, I go to office because I have a duty towards the society. So I manage in a very tight schedule over a period.
Hello. No, I think it's a girl's turn.
Here is the
I think, we Indians, we have to learn to be disciplined. This is the biggest problem.
Here is the Kotwal.
I'll tell you, I spend about 6-7 months a year outside India. And therefore, I have this constant comparison. And I find that once we have set up a rule, that alternately it will be a girl and a boy, I think we have to follow that.
Okay,
therefore,
who is
please, I hope you will not kindly mistake me. It is just that
Okay,
I want
next.
that rule to be honored, that's all.
Okay, fine.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
You said, ma'am, you're off for 20 days or 2 months and your husband doesn't ask you for that, he doesn't bother. So how do you take it? You said, I have an understanding
I hope you didn't mean he doesn't bother whether you are gone.
My husband bothers, actually cares for me. It is not.
How do you differentiate between that he's an understanding husband and he lets me do what I want to do, or he's no more emotionally attached to me?
My God, is it? I know my husband for the last 45 years, 4 years before my marriage, 41 years after marriage. So I know what he is. He doesn't bother. I never said that. He bothers, that's it, then he makes it compulsory when I'm out. He says, I have to take a security with me because I go to sometimes in an area where it's hard to go. I have to call once a day. I have to carry my water. He takes care of that. But he understands my passion for my work. He says, if there is funny in Bhubaneswar and I'm sitting in Bangalore, then he says, my heart is in Bhubaneswar, my mind is in Bhubaneswar, I'm physically in Bangalore. He says that is not correct. You should allow, that's the way I interpreted his way. He believes every flower should bloom with its own pace, its own wish. Not somebody should control it. And so the same thing I have done that for him. When Murthy travels 6 months in a year, I understand his busy meetings. It's very important in marriage, you should understand each other than any gifts. Okay, you may not give birthday gift, you don't even remember each other's birthday. Daughters tell us, ma'am, Amma, it's your wedding anniversary, otherwise Mr. Murthy will not even know. It is not bothering. The care is the passion. The passion, without that you don't survive. Or without that passion, you are not happy. And he allows me, or he supports me in my passion. And it's the greatest, it's the greatest quality I feel. When I go for 2 months, he's really worried about me. Because in case I get jaundice, I go to an area known as Bhawanipatana in Orissa, 14 hours from Bhubaneswar. You have to take a train, then you have to take a jeep, then you have to take a boat, and then you have to walk. And there you have a jumping jaundice there. He's worried about me, that how will I survive, in case something happens to me. But he understands also that without that, I'll be unhappy. And that is the reason. A person who is not emotionally attached will not even bother where you are. But a person who is emotionally attached and who cares for you always is concerned about what you like. And that I feel is most important for all girls. It is not the rich husband. It is not the powerful husband. It is not the position. It is the understanding man you should marry. More than that, otherwise you won't be happy in life.
He wanted to ask it. Yeah, please.
Without mic also you can talk, we can hear.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. My name is Akhlaqur Rahman, and I'm a BTech third year electronics engineering student from Aligarh Muslim University. I have a question. What were the hurdles that you faced while establishing Infosys way back in 1981 from a startup to a big corporation? And what are the key factors that someone nowadays, in this 21st century, should see while starting a startup in order to make it a big corporation?
Well, I think as I told some other group yesterday, first, your idea must have a differentiated business value proposition to the market better than all your competitors. That's most important. Unless you are creating a discontinuity in the marketplace, like Uber or Microsoft, etc., etc. But that's rare. But most of us, when we found a company, we have to ensure that our differentiated business value proposition is better than any competing product. Second, you must bring together a team that has mutually exclusive but collectively exhaustive set of skills, expertise, and experience. Third, the team must have an enduring value system. Fourth, money will automatically follow. Money is not a big deal. Fifth, you have to compare yourself with the world's best in every dimension of your operation at all points of time. At least that should be your aspiration. whether it is in finance, whether it is in human resources, whether it is in infrastructure, technological infrastructure, physical infrastructure, etc., etc. In other words, your aspiration must be to compare yourself with the global best. And that may be that the global best may be so far away from you, but as long as your face is towards that global best, as long as you're moving fast to the extent that you can towards that global best, then you will automatically become better and better and better day by day by day. And that gap will start reducing. I think if you have these things, if you follow some of these principles, then I do believe it becomes a little bit less difficult to reach the top than otherwise. That's not still, it does not mean that you will 100% reach the top, because there are so many imponderables that happen on the way. But by and large, you are enhancing the probability of success by following some of these principles.
Let them judge. How does it matter? Someone calls me. Suppose, many people come to my foundation, ask money. We don't give. Sometimes they are good, we give. When we don't give, immediately they say, she's really a bad lady. Someone says, they also say, she's okay, but she could have given more. People talk about you many things. But unless you have so much confidence in you, you should not bother about it, what people talk. Not to bother about someone, you require a great confidence. And that confidence within you, it is not what others talk, it really matter. Because you are less confident, so others, what they talk, it affects. Let them talk what they want. I know what I am inside. When you get that feeling and you work for it, it won't come in one day. You have to work for it. Look, others can say, as long legally, ethically it is right, I will take it. Otherwise, let them talk. Nobody has been praised forever in our Indian history. You look at it, or our mythology. Okay. Even in history, you look at history. Nobody said, okay, some king was there, something was bad. Even Sita was called like that. Even Parvati was named. There are many ways people talk. So you should have your inner confidence. Let them talk what they want. But I will do what is legally, ethically is right. And to develop that, you should have confidence. And confidence is not bought. It is not for sale. It is not available in the market. And it is not somewhere in books or anywhere. It is within you. You have to make yourself, look, this is with me. I will unleash my potential and will be confident. Yes, sir. That is the reason. Who is your best friend? Not the Saheli sitting next to you. Who is your enemy? Not the person sitting behind you. Atmaihi atmano bandhur, atmaihi ripu atmanaha. My best friend is me, myself. My worst enemy is me, myself. So you have to make the friendship with yourself first. Yes, sir.
Hello, ma'am. Your greatest admirers are the kids. And this is my humble request, if you can keep little time, because they have come with your books to get a signature from your side.
No, I will do that. Signing is not a problem.
This is a small request from
Of course, no problem, because when they buy my book, I always feel part of my royalty is paid for signature, okay? I will sign. Actually, I want to tell them, for all kids, I want to tell one very secret, When I write kids' book, now I'm 69, I'll be 69 soon, So if I'm writing for 12 or 13 years kid, it takes a day or day and a half for me to scale down myself to be a kid of 12 years. I think like them. To think like them, I have to scale down, because they are not biased. They have a wonderful world. They are inquisitive about things. And, it's nice to be a kid. So I will try to become like that in my mind. Physically, I can't. Mind, I can become. And then I will see the entire book in their angle. You must have seen a book, you must have read a book, The Magic of the Lost Temple, I think. Nooni is my granddaughter. Actually, in real life, Nooni is my granddaughter, who is only 6 years old. I thought if Nooni is 12 years old, and that Ajji's role or grandmother's role is it's me. I became Ajji at times and I became Nooni at times. When I became Nooni, I was 12 years. When I was Ajji, I was this age. So I do that mental exercise and then I write. And that's the reason children like that book, because when I write, I become a child. When I finish, it takes again a day and a half for me to grow up and become stable at my age. So that's the reason I become a kid when I write that one. That I want to tell you people. Yeah. Yes, girls.
Good morning, ma'am. It's a real pleasure to talk
How old are
to
you?
both of you. Ma'am, 13.
Then you can read all my books, okay? No problem.
Yeah. So my question is to both of you. So which books mean most to you? Like, which have influenced most to you? Not necessarily just ma'am's, but any other book also which have influenced you a lot or means most to you.
Yeah, Murthy has his own answers. I have my own because we read lots of books, thousands of books we have. We have some 20,000 books at home, you know. Different when I was teenager, my book reading habits were different, and different poets or different writers were very important to me. As and when I started reading more and more, then I liked more British authors because their expression was much better than American authors. This is my personal thing. Then Murthy introduced me to George Mikesh, a kind of a humor which I enjoyed more, and I read all George Mikesh books. Jerome K. Jerome I used to like. Not many books are there on Jerome K. Jerome, I suppose. So it depends. And when I started growing old, I never enjoyed much fiction. I preferred non-fiction. Okay. And I always liked autobiography than biographies. Travelogues I liked. I like a lot of history books. A lot actually. Okay. So that gives me an insight of our country, why we are like this, what is the advantage of, in a particular state, why people behave like this, all gives the insight of our way of living. So I have a series of collection of history books. I have Indica, which was written 259 BC. Its translation I have. India in the eyes of foreigners I have. Alburani's India I have. So I have different taste. I'm a great buyer from the Banarsi Das bookstores. But Murthy has entirely different library, and I don't lend book to him. I tell him you can afford to buy, so I will not give. So we maintain our own libraries, and Murthy will answer about books.
Well, at this point of time, most of what I read is physics, popular mathematics, and popular theoretical computer science. Earlier, the books that influenced me a lot were during my college days, including when I was at IIT Kanpur, and slightly later. There were 3 books. One is Capitalism and Protestant Work Ethic by Max Weber. Max Weber analyzed how Northern Europeans made such huge economic progress compared to Southern Europeans. And he realized that was simply because the Northern Europeans were very disciplined, they worked very hard, they used the fruit of capitalism very, very carefully, and they did not just splurge it. That's how Northern Europe became much better than Southern Europe. Even today, as you know, the PIGS countries, that is Portugal, of course Ireland is Northern Europe, but then there is Greece, and then there is Spain, huh? Yeah. Yeah. So they are much less developed compared to Germany, England, France, Scandinavia, etc., etc. The second book that influenced me a lot was My Experiments with Truth by Mahatma Gandhi. That is where Mahatma Gandhi demonstrated the importance of being honest about yourself, recognizing your weaknesses, recognizing your frailties, and try and make an effort to overcome those. And number two, it also talked about how to, in a very positive way, try and influence others. The third book I read and liked and that has influenced me a lot is what's called Peau Noire Masque Blanche. That means, that's French title. In English, it's called Black Skin, White Mask. It is written by an Algerian doctor. He is no more. He died in 61. Yeah, yeah. He, his basically what he wrote about was the reaction of people of the natives in a post-colonial society. How the elite among the natives, the elite, the powerful and the rich among the natives behave worse than the colonizers. It's almost, even today, when I see in India transactions, I am reminded of that book, because in Algeria it was the same, India it is the same, Pakistan it's the same, etc. So that shows how the elite, the rich and the powerful are even bigger suppressors, bigger oppressors rather, than the colonizers. And that's a lesson that all of us who have reached a certain level of wealth, certain level of elitism, certain level of power, have to read and try and control that tendency. So I would say that these are the three books that have made tremendous influence on me in terms of my discipline, in terms of my hard work, in terms of my control on my expenditure, in terms of simplicity of living, in terms of leadership by example, in terms of behavior of an elite, the rich and the powerful. That's what I would say. On a nickel and dime, basically it is by an American lady called Barbara Irishland. What she did was she wanted to understand the life of the poor in America. She was a reporter in New York Times. She went to her editor and she said, I want to understand the life of the poor. That guy said, look, young lady, you can't understand the life of the poor from being what you are. You have to actually live that life of the poor. Then only you will understand. So what she did was, she did something extraordinary. She disguised herself, not disguised, she got a new identity and she worked as a waitress in a restaurant including Pizza Hut. She worked as a checkout girl in Walmart, and she worked as a nurse in an old age home. And she describes the life of the poor in America, how tough it is to be poor. And there are lots of lessons from that book. So certainly I think these are all useful books.
Sometime back, I had an opportunity of visiting Mysore. I visited all the families of martyrs in Mysore. And I found that, their kids, they lack jobs. It's very difficult for them. Is it possible to start an initiative from your end for job for the kids of martyrs?
Well, I think it's a great idea. However, we must realize that for us to reach a certain level of excellence, focus is very important. We have to continue to do what we are good at, what our strengths are, rather than trying to spread ourselves too thin. However, what we do is we provide funding for many of these initiatives through Infosys Science Foundation. Every year, Infosys Foundation, I'm sorry. And they are the ones, they have supported the military families, They have support. For example, must have seen how well we look after the Central CRPF, Central Reserve Police Force, Central Industrial Security Force, CISF. And so to the extent possible, we try and add whatever little value we can. But however, the day I don't know if you remember, about 15, 20 years ago, Tata Steel put an advertisement. Said, we do this, we do that, we do this. We also produce steel. And Tata Steel just went down like that. And they realized in time, unfortunately, it came back. So therefore, what is important is, Infosys is good in software development. That's its primary work. We must continue to strengthen that. We must continue to develop much more complex software. We must develop much software more productively with better quality, etc. And earn more and more profits and donate a part of that profit to specialists who are in a position to add value to these. That's exactly what we do.
Actually, you don't mix business and philanthropy. Infosys does software, export, and they earn money. 2% of that, which is 400 crores, they give it to us, and we do philanthropy. We don't go to business and tell, look, these are the things you employ, they don't do. They won't tell you whom we should give money, who are business partners, they don't do. For martyrs, Infosys Foundation is one of the, actually it's the only one it started helping them. Each Shaheed family gets 10 lakhs. And last year, we gave to 800 people. We have to we go and verify. Not that somebody, because in a family, you know that mother and daughter-in-law will fight for the money. The child will have some problem. So we go to individual houses. We have a team for that who will visit individual martyrs family and give each family 10 lakhs. In Pullman, recently, in that Hadsa, we gave 4 crore, 30 lakhs or something, because there are 43 people. In Punjab, if the person is disabled in the war or in casualty, not a war, in casualties, etc., so we give a scholarship to their children. And sometimes we help them to rehabilitate, either with some seed money, etc. we give. So we would like to help our army or our defense forces, because of their sacrifice. We are aware that we are in a democratic, independent India, and it's our duty to help, and which you do at the tune of 80 to 100 crores a year. Every year we do that.
I think the ladies must have the last word, and therefore Abhay has decided that this will be the last question. And he has been so kind to manage that our visit has been very productive. So let you please ask the last question. You stood up just now, please.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir. My name is Shardia Mandal, and I am 13 years old. It's almost a dream come true to meet you all. And my question is that you have been meeting so many people in your life, famous, non-famous. How has this affected your life?
For me, it doesn't affect much, because I really don't know. If they are famous, well and good, it's fine. If they are famous, you see and appreciate. If they are not famous, that's also fine. We are not famous 50 years, 40 years back. We are like one of them. If they are famous, it doesn't affect me as such. I look at them, appreciate their efforts, their achievements, and that's it. I don't take it in a personal way. Look at them and look at me. I never compare. Every flower is beautiful in its own way. Everybody has their own marathon to run. Everybody is a God's gift. So why worry about meeting someone and feeling, oh, it has happened or something? No. I meet them and be happy, forget and go on. That's my way of living.
No, as far as I'm concerned, whenever I meet a person who has certain characteristics that I can learn from. Therefore, I am highly focused on observing people who have achieved something in life, and I want to learn the good things from them. So therefore, I am in awe of those people. I want to learn from those people, and I want to improve myself. So therefore, I am an unabashed admirer of accomplished people, and I want to learn from them, and I want to become better.
On that note, thank you once again, ma'am. Thank you, sir. May I now request Manish to present Srimati Sudha Murthy with a small token of appreciation on behalf of IITK.
No, you are already given a plant, etc.
We have another special.
What is this special?
This elegant portrait of ma'am is a collage artwork created by our student Krishnendu Paul. I now request Neil, Secretary Science and Technology Council, to present this small token of appreciation to Sri Narayana Murthy on behalf of IIT Kanpur. This portrait of sirs is a collage artwork created by our students Prakhar Dumaz and Saurabh Saman.
Children can come with the books at the side.
I now request Manish to give the vote of thanks. All right, so on a concluding note, we would like to sincerely thank Sri Narayan Murthy and Srimati Sudha Murthy for their precious time